Welcome to History with Herodotus, where we embark on a journey through the annals of time, unraveling the mysteries of the past and illuminating the triumphs and tribulations of humanity. Today, we find ourselves at the threshold of one of the most pivotal battles in human history, the Battle of Marathon, fought in the sweltering summer of 490 BC. This epic clash between the Persian Empire and a coalition of Greek city-states would determine the course of Western civilization, leaving an indelible mark on the world. In the early 5th century BC, the Persian Empire, under the rule of Darius I, had expanded its dominion over a vast territory stretching from the Indus River in the east to the shores of the Aegean Sea in the west. The Persians, with their formidable military and administrative prowess, seemed invincible, casting a long shadow over the city-states of Greece. In the midst of this tumultuous landscape, Athens, a small but vibrant city-state, had been undergoing a transformation of its own. Following the expulsion of the Pisistrated tyrants in 510 BC, Athens had embarked on an experiment in democracy, with Cleisthenes introducing reforms that would give birth to a new era of civic engagement and participation. This fledgling democracy, though still fragile, would soon face its greatest challenge as the Persian Empire set its sights on the Greek city-states. The spark that ignited the flames of war was the Ionian Revolt, a rebellion by the Greek cities of Asia Minor against Persian rule. The Athenians, with their characteristic spirit of adventure and defiance, had provided support to the rebels, sending a contingent of troops to aid in the fight for independence. Though the revolt ultimately failed, it had far-reaching consequences, as Darius I vowed to punish the Greeks for their meddling. As the Persians began to mobilize their forces, the Athenians found themselves facing an existential threat. The city-state's leader, Miltiades, a seasoned military commander with a deep understanding of Persian tactics, recognized the gravity of the situation and set about preparing the Athenian army for the impending battle. Meanwhile, the Spartans, Athens' traditional rivals, were approached for aid, but their response was lukewarm, citing religious obligations as an excuse for not sending troops immediately. With the Persians closing in, the Athenians and their allies, including a small contingent of Plataeans, took up positions on the plain of Marathon, a coastal region about 26 miles northeast of Athens. The terrain, with its rolling hills, marshes, and narrow coastal strip, would play a crucial role in the battle to come. The Persian army, a vast and imposing force, was led by Datis and Artaphernes, experienced generals who had campaigned extensively throughout the empire. Their troops, drawn from all corners of the Persian world, were a testament to the empire's diversity and military prowess. As they arrayed themselves on the plain, their ranks stretched as far as the eye could see. A sea of colorful banners and glinting steel that seemed almost invincible. As the Persian army arrayed itself on the plain of Marathon, the Athenians and their allies steeled themselves for the battle ahead. The date was September 12, 490 BC, a day that would be etched into the annals of history as one of the most pivotal moments in human conflict. Miltiades, the seasoned Athenian commander, surveyed the Persian lines, his eyes narrowing as he calculated the enemy's strengths and weaknesses. He knew that the Persians relied heavily on their cavalry, but the marshy terrain of Marathon would hinder their mobility, rendering them less effective. The Athenian army, numbering around 10,000 hoplites, formed a phalanx formation, shields locked and spears at the ready. The narrow coastal strip, flanked by hills and marshes, funneled the Persian army into a killing zone, where the Athenians could exploit their advantage in heavy infantry. As the two armies faced each other, the air was thick with tension, the only sound the rustling of armor and the distant call of seagulls wheeling overhead. The Persians, confident in their numerical superiority, began to advance, their columns stretching across the plain like a dark, undulating tide. The Athenians held firm, their shields bristling with spears, as Miltiades gave the order to charge. The two armies collided with a deafening crash, the sound of clashing steel and screams of the wounded echoing across the plain. The battle was fierce and intense, the outcome hanging in the balance as the two sides clashed in a maelstrom of blood and chaos. As the fight raged on, the Athenians began to gain the upper hand, their phalanx formation holding firm against the Persian onslaught. The narrow terrain and marshy ground worked in their favor, as the Persians struggled to maneuver their cavalry and deploy their archers effectively. The Athenian hoplites, meanwhile, fought with a ferocity born of desperation, knowing that their city and their way of life hung in the balance. In the heat of the battle, a pivotal moment occurred when the Athenian general, Miltiades, ordered his men to weaken their center, deliberately creating a gap in the line. The Persians, sensing an opportunity, poured troops into the breach, only to find themselves trapped and vulnerable to attack from the flanks. The Athenians then closed in, encircling the Persian forces and cutting them down with ruthless efficiency. The battle raged on for several hours, the outcome still uncertain as the sun began to set over the plain of Marathon. But as the light faded, the Persians began to falter, their lines wavering as the Athenians pressed their advantage. In a final desperate bid to turn the tide, the Persian commanders launched a last-ditch attack, hurling their remaining troops against the Athenian line. The assault was fierce, but ultimately futile, as the Athenians held firm, their shields locked and their spears bristling. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting the plain of Marathon in a bloody, golden light, the Persians began to retreat, their army broken and demoralized. The Athenians, exhausted but triumphant, pursued them, cutting down any who stood in their way. The battlefield was strewn with the bodies of the dead and wounded, the air thick with the stench of blood and sweat. And yet, amidst the carnage, there was a sense of pride and jubilation, for the Athenians had saved their city and their way of life, defeating an enemy that had seemed invincible just hours before. As the last remnants of the Persian army fled the battlefield, the Athenians began to tend to their wounded and bury their dead. The victory had come at a great cost, with estimates suggesting that over 1,000 Athenian hoplites had fallen in the battle. Despite this, the city erupted in jubilation, with the news of the victory spreading like wildfire through the streets. The Athenians had saved their city from the brink of destruction, and their bravery and cunning had been rewarded. In the aftermath of the battle, Miltiades, the Athenian general, was hailed as a hero. His tactical genius had been instrumental in securing the victory, and he was showered with praise and rewards by the Athenian people. The city also honored the gods, making sacrifices and offering thanks for their deliverance from the Persian threat. As the years passed, the Battle of Marathon became etched in the collective memory of the Athenians. It was seen as a defining moment in their history, a testament to their courage and resilience in the face of overwhelming odds. The battle also marked a turning point in the Greco-Persian Wars, as it thwarted the Persian invasion of Greece and gave the city-states a much-needed breathing space to regroup and prepare for future conflicts. The legacy of Marathon can be seen in the words of the ancient Greek historian Herodotus, who wrote, "The Battle of Marathon was a marvel, and one that will be remembered for all time, for it showed that the Greeks were not inferior to the barbarians, but rather their equals, if not their superiors." This sentiment captures the essence of the battle's significance, as it highlights the Athenians' ability to resist the might of the Persian Empire and assert their independence. Today, the Battle of Marathon is remembered as a pivotal moment in world history. It has been studied by military strategists and historians for centuries, with many seeking to understand the tactics and decisions that led to the Athenian victory. The battle is also commemorated in various forms of art and literature, from the works of Aeschylus to the paintings of modern artists. The site of the battle itself has become a place of pilgrimage for history enthusiasts and scholars. The tomb of the Athenian dead, known as the Soros, still stands today, a testament to the sacrifice and bravery of those who fought and died on that fateful day. As one walks through the plain of Marathon, it is impossible not to feel a sense of awe and reverence for the events that unfolded there over 2,500 years ago. In conclusion, the Battle of Marathon was a defining moment in ancient Greek history, one that showcased the bravery, cunning, and resilience of the Athenian people. Its legacy can be seen in the countless works of art, literature, and historical accounts that have been inspired by the battle. That's all for today's History with Herodotus. Remember to like, share, and subscribe. And until next time, remember that to understand the present, we must first understand the past.